Good morning, JP. How are you, my man?
Hi, good morning.
You were at the Boston Marathon for cheering on a friend, right? Isn't that what you were doing?
Yep.
And you and your brother had gone down there. Who else did you go down there with? Was there a whole big group?
Yeah, there was 7 of us total. My brother, his girlfriend, and a friend were already at the forum, and me and a few other friends showed up later on.
You were there for how long before the explosions took place?
I was only there for about 10 minutes or so.
Oh, wow. 10 minutes, and then that's incredible. And by the way, JP, I'm surprised you can even hear, because I thought, didn't you have both your eardrums blown out?
Yeah, I actually have to get surgery on both of them. I actually canceled one. I've been dreading this surgery, but yeah, they said I lost about 80 to 90% of my hearing in both ears.
So you're there for 10 minutes, and where were you hit by the first explosion or the second explosion?
We were at the second.
So there were about 12 or 13 seconds in between those explosions. When the first one, which was only a couple hundred yards away, when the first one went off, what went through your mind?
It was really weird because there was people clapping, and then there was other people that was, screaming, and people started crying instantly. I thought it was a gas explosion because I didn't possibly think someone would bomb the marathon, you know what I mean, or bomb Boston. I didn't know what was going on.
See, maybe I'm a worst case scenario sort of guy. I immediately probably would have gone, "Oh my God, it must be terrorism," just because there's a big group of people. If I'm in a big group like that, let's say you're in the middle of Times Square or something, I get paranoid that, I saw what happened on 9/11. I saw what happened with this Boston bombing. It's terrible that we even have to think that when we're in a big group. So did you guys move at all, or did you stay put after that first explosion? And I'm sure it was very crowded. You couldn't really move a lot. But what did you guys do after that first explosion?
Well, it was only 12 seconds, but it seemed like minutes actually before the second one went off. But a friend immediately said, "Oh, guys, we got to get in the street. We got to get in the street." So we all kind of huddled together and like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And we started to do that. Me and my brother were helping his girlfriend over the railing, and the bomb went off.
Wow. Did you happen to see by any chance the 60 Minutes story that they did on this last night?
No, I didn't.
60 Minutes ran a piece where they talked. It was the guy who was the head of the FBI out there talked publicly about this for the first time. They showed photos of these guys putting the backpack down and that kind of stuff, which we've seen. But just to see, and then you actually see some of the people that were killed right there. 3 people killed in this attack. It's unbelievable. So the second explosion goes off. And did you stay conscious throughout this, or did it knock you out?
I was conscious the whole time, and I actually was a little dazed when it first went off. And I don't know why I thought this, but I guess I thought I got punched. I was like confused, and as soon as I started coming to, and I tried to get up, I put my right leg into the ground like I was going to try to step up, and I realized my right leg was gone.
Oh my God! Do you look down at that point, or do you make a conscious decision not to look down and see what has happened to your leg?
I think I looked at it a few times, and also my left leg was ripped open from basically my hip to my knee. It was flapped wide open, and I was on fire, and I started putting, then at that point, I wanted to get the fire out, and then I started checking myself to see if I had anything else missing.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. And at that point, so you thought you had been punched at first. I know sometimes when stuff happens, it's just so unexpected, you're not thinking straight. At what point did you start thinking to yourself, "Oh wow, I was just hit by a deliberate explosion"? I mean, the one was 12 seconds ago. Here's the second one. How long did it take you to put 2 and 2 together, or did you not even put it together until you were at the hospital?
No, it was pretty quick. I like I said, I thought I got punched, and then when I was confused, and then when I started coming to a little bit, I was like, when I tried to get up, then I realized when I lost my leg and stuff what was going on.
And is it just chaos and pandemonium at this point? I mean, are people just running and screaming? And are you Are you laying there with 20 or 30 other people that are injured?
I was laying there, yeah. I would have to say probably more, but it was instantly like my ears were ringing. Like I couldn't really hear people too much. And, also too, I was concerned where my brother was and, my friends and stuff. So there was so much going on in so little time. And then also, the people that helped, they got here pretty quickly.
So you were separated from your brother at that point. You didn't know what had happened to him.
I saw him. He didn't see me. I saw him. I knew he lost his leg, but it was kind of weird because even though he lost his leg, the view I saw him from, he looked fine. I could see his leg was off, but he was sitting up and he was talking to somebody. And it didn't look like he was hurt, and I was in a lot of pain, so I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I didn't know why he wasn't in pain, but he didn't. Everything else looked on him okay, but I was only seeing the side view. I didn't see his back and his head and everything.
And so you had to see your own brother. Not only are you looking at your own leg that's pretty much been blown off, and your other one is all torn open, but you look over and you see your brother, and you see his leg missing too.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind at a point like that? Are you worried for your survival and his survival? Are you worried about your family, or what's the main thought that's going through your head at that point?
Yeah, I actually saw him, and he was on the phone, so I was trying to find my phone, and I think it got blown up. I really don't know what happened to it. I wanted to call my mother and my girlfriend and tell them I loved them because I didn't think I was going to make it, and, it's weird. At that point, you don't really start thinking about your leg anymore. You just want to get safe, and you want your brother to be safe and all your friends. And I couldn't see any of my other friends, so I didn't know what happened. Obviously, you just think the worst of what's going to happen.
Does the guy who you went to go see run the marathon, does he feel it's not his fault, obviously, but does he feel guilty for the fact that you guys were down there to watch him run the marathon?
I think he had some guilt with stuff, but, I mean, we know it wasn't his fault, and we talked to him about it and stuff, and I think he's okay now. I think for a while because, he's one of our best friends. He's like our brother, and he stayed in the hospital, off and on with us the whole time. He was in there every single day, and so I think he went through a lot of stuff, but, we know it's not his fault, so...
J.P. Norden is on with us. His book is called Twice as Strong, 12 Seconds, Two Brothers, and the Marathon That Changed Their Lives. So how long does it take to get you into an ambulance? Because there's so many people that need medical attention, and there's so much going on. Was it fairly immediate? Was it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? How long until you got into an ambulance?
I don't know the exact time, and I've spoke with my first responders since. I actually ended up in an ambulance with two other people, and I ended up on the floor of it. But I guess my first responder, one of them walked by, and he's a paramedic, and he's like, he just stopped in his tracks, and he's like, wow, this kid has to go. I only had 1 pint of blood in me by the time I got to the hospital.
Oh, wow. And so then they, I guess, rush you into surgery, I'm guessing? They have to amputate your leg, of what remains of your leg, or when you get to the hospital, what happens?
They asked me a few questions, and I just kept saying, come on, can you guys give me something for pain? And they're like, well, we need to know if you're allergic to stuff, and, we need a telephone number for somebody to call, but then from what I talked to my doctor after, he said basically they just were saving lives that day, and then they were going to come in the next morning early and talk about what they needed to do to people. So I don't think they did anything to my limbs or anything like that until the next day. They just wanted to get some blood in me and stabilize everybody, I guess, not just me. Did
they finally give you this? I had a pain medication once, like the injection. I had to go to the hospital, and I was in intense pain. I never really taken any pain meds, pills, or anything, but they inject this right into you, and I could not believe the immediacy. First of all, it made me high, like I was on heroin or something, I guess. I mean, when you have your leg blown off and they give you pain medication, is it the same thing? Does it help? Does it immediately stop? Do you feel high? Does it give you any relief?
the first day they put a mask on me. The last thing I remember is, them starting to cut off my clothes. They put a mask on me and I went to sleep. And I think they had me medically induced until Tuesday night, and then I woke up. But during, after surgeries and this and that, and I was on a Dilaudid drip for a while.
Yeah.
You still feel pain. I did anyways. I mean, my left leg was still really hurt. I had over 50% of my body burned, so I was never comfortable for a while, but I mean, of course it helped, but I was never out of pain totally.
Has this changed your outlook on life?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe you take things for granted, and even life for granted. You just everyday things. I guess it's helped me to feel, to live every day the best you can, and do things you want to do. I mean, that's really what it is all about now.
What do you think about? I want to ask you this because I've seen tragedies happen. The Boston bombing, which you and your brother were involved in, victims of. This school shooting, the Newtown thing, and whenever something like that big in the news happens, you have a bunch of asswipes who come out and go, "Oh, it's fake. It's a false flag. It's the government set this all up. They're behind it. It's a conspiracy." I even remember at the time when this bombing happened, there were people calling into my show, JP, saying it's fake. It's all actors. It's stage blood. I mean, does that just drive you crazy?
Honestly, I saw a few of them, and they did. They say we were actors and we're this and we're that, and there was a bunch on my friend Jimmy who was in the picture where he's blown, his clothes are all blown open, but and even a friend of ours we were with, he was like, oh, he's into conspiracy theories, and I used to think he was crazy. And now I know he was crazy because, I said to myself, I would never, ever, after this, believe a conspiracy theory ever, because I just think they're all uneducated idiots, if you ask me. But no, I've seen some. I just really stayed away from that stuff because it would probably, drive you crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with enough already. You don't have to deal with that. JP Norden is on with us. His book, Twice as Strong. 12 Seconds, Two Brothers in the Marathon That Changed Their Lives. He has to run in just a second, but quickly, two more questions. Do you feel, someone just sent me a text message, Jen wanted to know, do you feel phantom limb pain? So your leg is gone, but do you still feel any pain even though it's not there?
Sometimes I do. I was feeling a lot of that in the beginning. I guess it's different for everybody because I would ask my brother how his was and stuff, but I would feel I would feel my toes, and it would be like my foot would be in real cold water, and I'd be standing on a sharp rocks. It was the weirdest feeling in the world. But and then sometimes it's a funny story. My brother, I just saw him trying to itch where his shin would have been one time, and I said, "What are you doing, playing the air guitar?" And he goes, "No, I just was going to try to itch my leg, and it wasn't there, But yeah.
One other thing I want to know, JP, is after 9/11, I flew into New York City, and as you're flying in there, you see the World Trade Center, the buildings are gone, and it just, man, did it piss me off, and I wanted revenge. I wanted to kill people. Do you just want to kill obviously the two people that did this? One is going to stand trial. One is already dead, but do you just want to rip that guy limb from limb if you had the opportunity?
I'd probably want to do that, see what he did to my family, my friends, everything, I just think though, whatever they do to him will be fine, whether he's put to death or life in jail. I think whatever they give him will be the right decision.
And one last question, JP. People have said there's funds that were gotten, fundraisers, and people donated. I think you got $1.2 million, and people say, "Oh my God, I'd cut off my leg for $1.2 million." But it's not that simple, is it? I mean, you're going to require. My understanding is that may not even be enough for your actual medical costs for the lifetime.
My medical bill is were over $2 million.
Oh my God.
But don't get me wrong. I mean, the hospitals and insurance companies were great. But for our prosthetics, my brother's above the knee and I'm below the knee, so it's a little different. But my brother's leg costs $143,000. So you need a leg every 3 to 5 years. So
wow,
$1.2 million isn't a lot. I mean, it sounds like, oh, they got a lot. And I can tell you one thing: I would never cut off my leg or any body part for any amount of money after this happening. But
so we're not going to see J.P. Norden driving around in a Ferrari, is what you're telling me, anytime soon.
Unless you guys want to help me out with that, yeah, no.
Well, hey, maybe if this book becomes a New York Times #1 bestseller, maybe he can do it that way. Hey, listen, J.P., I wish you the best of luck, not only with the book but with everything else, and your brother as well, and everyone else who was involved in this. And I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story. And again, man, I wish you the best of luck, JP.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.